hold on to the truth, to speak without fear. We need to understand that our government is trying to control us and pit us against one another. So we need to understand that united we stand and divided we fall. We each need to gain control of our personal finances so that we can in turn insist that our government do likewise. With that in mind, we need to get out from under our credit card debt, start saving, live within our means, which will lead to self-reliance and lack of dependency on the government, which will allow us to finally put our greed aside and insist that we stop participating in free trade agreements that are intentionally driving us into economic collapse, and insist that our government balance the budget and stop deficit spending. That leads us to the most difficult challenge of all. We need to insist that the Federal Reserve be disbanded and that issuance of currency be put back in the hands of the American people, back in the hands of the Treasury, where our founding fathers intended it to be. With that, we will begin to be able to vote smart, and when we do, we need to understand that our founding fathers never intended us to have career politicians, so we need to vote out all of the career politicians. And if we hope to have a future generation, we need to reclaim our schools, because our children are our future, and if what they are learning is being governed by a government that is intent on collapsing us, then our future is by default gone. We also need to understand the dangers of war, and we need to start to find political solutions that are not intent upon war. We also need to understand that illegal immigration is a political issue, and we can stop illegal immigration quite easily if we stop handing out entitlements to illegal immigrants. We also need to understand that we cannot go forward and rebuild America if we are taxing the people into absolute abject poverty. So we need to have no new tax increases. And along that vein, we absolutely need to insist that we do not have cap and trade. And we need to understand that if the government can control our money and our energy and our health care, that we are basically subservient to them. So in that vein, we need to insist that our government repeal Obamacare. And perhaps the most important issue of all is we need to understand that we are in the midst of a planet's sixth mass extinction. And if we don't take control of the population issue, our government will. We need to voluntarily decide that none of us have a right to have more than 1 or 2 children in order that we can control the population at a manageable level. And lastly, that leads us to the conclusion where we insist as a nation that we do not participate in the New World Order, that the United States of America remain a sovereign nation, one nation, under God. Thank you for your patience. Just 3 more slides. We can win the fight against tyranny. That is, if we stand united. We must stop allowing the government to divide us on ethnic, religious, and economic issues and stand as one people with liberty and justice for all. We must accept that the days of conspicuous consumption are forever gone, and we must make sacrifices for the good of all. We must get politically involved to participate in peaceful protest, no violence, and we must see to it that the wealth of the nation is distributed from the financial elite to the lower class, middle class, and upper class, because that is key to restoring the economic future of the United States of America. I have done the best I can to represent the 8 planks of the American Reformation program, but as I said earlier, there's a lot more to them that I can delineate in this brief presentation. So if you really truly want to get politically involved, I encourage you to buy my book so that you can read in detail what you need to know in order to make informed decisions and to fight to restore America to greatness. We have more power than we think. The government is just a parasite that exists on the labor and ingenuity of its citizens. It makes nothing and takes everything. Without its host, us, it cannot exist. We, the people, can reclaim the republic if we believe in God and say no to the government. During the course of this presentation, we spent a lot of time discussing how the government is controlling us, but we nonetheless need to take personal responsibility as well. We need to understand that our greed is destroying this planet. We need to end our conspicuous consumption. We need to become good stewards of the planet. We need to limit the size of our families so that we can start to get population under control. And most importantly, we need to stand for family values and understand that God, not the government, is the supplier of all of our needs. And it is God, our families, and our neighbors who deserve our loyalty, and not a government which is intent on controlling us. If you are interested in having me speak at your church or community group, I can be reached at larry@libertycrusade.com or by phone at 630-202-2354. Additional presentations are available on my website at libertycrusade.com or on YouTube. I urge you to help me get this information out to the general public, so please send the link to this presentation to all of your friends. Note, please contact me if you are interested in a joint venture to produce political documentaries.